Hi there, your Weather Watch continues. I'm Emily Vukovic, and here are today's developing stories. Risk of severe weather through parts of Ontario. Heavy rain with a tornado threat. We're going to be timing out all of the storms for you, so make sure you stay with us throughout the hour. We are covering active weather. Well, looking east, we are going to be seeing some active weather in the form of thunderstorms through Toronto and in through the Ottawa region. We're going to be seeing some rain. Freezing rain could be an issue through parts of St. John's, Newfoundland, and look at Fredericton, New Brunswick. Oh, fresh snow on the ground. All right, through Ontario, here's the risk map. Now, the areas in red, that is where we are looking to forecast a very severe storm, potentially. Could involve strong winds, some small-sized hail. Localized flooding could certainly be an issue, and we're not ruling out the threat of a localized tornado. Now, through the GTA, we're looking at mostly non-severe, very isolated cells firing up, but we could certainly be dealing with heavy rainfall. Rainfall amounts, we're looking at anywhere between 10 to 20 millimeters of rain, of course, but if we do see that thunderstorm activity, those rainfall amounts are certainly going to be going up. For more on the storms in Ontario, here's Chris Murphy. To check out an article that we have online at theweathernetwork.com written about icebergs a little bit early in the season. Today for Atlantic Canada, we are going to be seeing some rain and some snow tapering off throughout the day. High pressure in for Newfoundland, but we do have a system coming up the shore. It could bring some freezing rain for you in St. John's. All right, taking a look at the beautiful scene in Vancouver, British Columbia. It is certainly looking green, but we do have more rain on the way, on and off for the weekend. Today, certainly a decent forecast. We are going to be seeing temperatures get up to about seasonal values. Friday looking like the best day of the week in terms of conditions, up to 15 degrees for Vancouver. And then in through the interior, a nice forecast. More wet weather coming in on Saturday and then into Sunday. A little bit of a soaker.
Well, we've got steady rain coming through parts of Ontario today. Toronto picking up 15 to 30 millimeters. Through Ottawa, it's going to happen midday, but Montreal, you get to squeak in some sunshine before the clouds and rain move in for that evening commute.
Hi there, I'm Emily Vukovic, taking a look at the weather across the country. We are going to be seeing some active bouts of weather through parts of Ontario, Atlantic Canada, and the West right now. But first, let's take a look at Share Your Weather. Great. We've got a nice ridge building. We've got a seasonal day ahead of you and lots of sunshine. Saturday looks okay. Sunday, unfortunately, we are going to be seeing more rain coming in. All right, taking a look at this picture from Regina, Saskatchewan. Mary Jane sent this in. Very, very dark, ominous clouds in the distance. Right now, we're going to be checking in with Chrissy Van.
Gray skies and rainy weather have been the story through the lower mainland for much of this spring. I know anytime we've seen that glimpse of sunshine, everyone all of a sudden seems a lot more positive, a lot more happy. Well, this week I'm going to be exploring the psychological impacts when it comes to the gloomy weather we've been dealing with on the west.
Now, we are expecting to see some rain across the prairie provinces, just kind of like little pockets of moisture firing up. That's really going to be the situation. This boundary is going to be developing. It is going to be pushing in a ton of cold air. Southern Alberta, you won't be impacted by this. Calgary, you're still going to stay relatively close to seasonal, but towards the east, we certainly have below seasonal values on the way. Now, for eastern Canada, we're in active weather coverage. Risk of isolated, possibly severe thunderstorms throughout the southwestern section of Ontario, anywhere from Hamilton through the Niagara region in through London, Kitchener, through Waterloo, Sarnia, in through Windsor. We do have that risk to see some heavy rain. The potential is there for strong winds, small hail, and we're not ruling out the risk of an isolated tornado. Time for your question of the day. Which part of a storm concerns you the most? Heavy rain, strong winds, thunder and lightning, or other?
Second best.
Covering active weather across the country, I'm Emily Vukovic. Thanks for joining us. We're starting things off in the west where we've got more rain on the way for today. Anywhere between 15 to 20 millimeters through the island and in through the lower mainland, Alberta and in through Saskatchewan. We just have this upper trough in place that could be giving us enough energy to fire off some non-severe convective activity. Now, where we could see some severe weather is in through Ontario, anywhere from Hamilton down through the Niagara region all the way south. We're going to be traveling in through southern Ontario. Please keep that in mind today. The rainfall, this forecast could certainly change dramatically. We've got 10 to 20 millimeters of rain on the way, generally speaking, but if we do see some thunderstorms, that amount could certainly go up. Now, throughout Atlantic Canada, we do have a system on the way you want to check this out on theweathernetwork.com. Here's Chrissy with the story. Looking at your precipitation forecast for the long range, we are going to be seeing a fairly decent start to the weekend throughout the interior of BC, but Vancouver, you've got more wet weather on the way. Unfortunately, the beginning of next week isn't looking great. Across the prairies, we could actually see some snow. Edmonton getting up to only 1 degree, clearing out for Monday, but still quite cool with all that cold air coming in behind that boundary from the north. Now to the east, we are going to be seeing some active weather. Hi there, I'm Emily Vukovic. Your Weather Watch continues for this Thursday. It's April the 20th, and here are today's top stories. Risk of severe weather, heavy rain, tornado threat potential. We're going to be timing out all of these storms for you in just a moment. We're in active weather. So first things first, we're going to take a look at the risk map for Ontario. Now, but depending on where you live is really going to depend on the potential severity of these storms. Anywhere south of the Hamilton region in through Niagara, London, Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge, down towards Sarnia and in through Windsor, we do have that chance for severe cells. Biggest threats, strong winds, small-sized hail. Could potentially see some localized flooding and isolated tornadoes. We've got enough shear in the atmosphere. This is what the radar looks like right now for the afternoon, and you can see some very strong bands of showers and the potential for some decent thunderstorms right there around the dinner hour moving through the parts of the southwest. Now, rainfall amounts, they're really going to depend on if you do see thunderstorm activity. We're looking at about 10 to 20 millimeters of rain, generally widespread, but of course, if we do see thunderstorm activity, those amounts could rise greatly. Now, throughout Atlantic Canada, we have been dealing with a little bit of rain. We've got the chance to see some more snow, but that will be tapering off through the northern sections of New Brunswick. And then to the extreme eastern shores of Newfoundland, there's some freezing rain with a little bit of subtropical moisture that's going to be moving in through the area for tomorrow. Right now, we're going to take you west to beautiful Calgary, Alberta. Hi there, I'm Emily Vukovic. Thank you for joining us. I've got good news for you in BC. We've got some drier weather ahead. I know it's been so wet, but by Friday, we're looking at a nice ridge in the jet stream, Vancouver, Kamloops, Prince George. Everybody's seeing some sunshine and some more seasonal values. Now, speaking of seasonal values, we're going to see below seasonal values across the eastern prairies, and that cold air, it is going to be filtering its way in through Ontario, where we are covering some active weather. Risk of severe thunderstorms anywhere from Hamilton south down towards Windsor, not ruling out the threat of an isolated tornado, but more likely some small-sized hail, very strong winds, and heavy downpours. This is going to be happening through the afternoon. Could see a very decent squall line moving through around the dinner hour. Messy mix ahead for parts of Newfoundland. We've got a rain-snow mix on the way and the potential for some pretty intense freezing rain as well, so keep that in mind if you are going to be doing some traveling. Thanks, Chris. We're taking a look at some of the rainfall amounts, anywhere between 10 to 20 millimeters, generally speaking. But of course, if we do see thunderstorm activity, those amounts are going to be going up. Now, we do have the risk for some heavier rain moving in later on in the afternoon for the GTA around the dinner hour, and then off towards eastern Ontario through the overnight. We'll start to clear out throughout the day. On Friday, the risk map, well, it looks severe in some areas, anywhere from Hamilton south. Now, Canada has its own tornado alley. Do you know which province sees the most twisters in Canada? You're about to find out.